So I've been a big Vincent Price fan since around the time I first got a VCR. I don't know what it was that sparked my interest. I had seen his films on TV as a kid off and on, but it wasn't until I had a VCR in the late 80s and I rented Theater of Blood that I was like, wow, I like this guy. I need to see more. And luckily, all his films were pretty readily available on video, so I just tore into them. Now it's been many years since then. I've bought them all on DVD. I'm upgrading a lot of them to Blu-ray. And I was able to watch one of his films, one of his early 70s features on Turner Classic Movies. They had a nice HD broadcast of the film Madhouse from 1974. This was interesting to me. I'm a big fan of American International Pictures, AIP. Big fan of Amicus, which was a British, kind of wanted to be Hammer, but wasn't quite, but still made a lot of fun movies, studio. This was a co-production of Amicus and AIP. So it was cool to see Milton Subotsky and Samuel Ziarkov's name in the titles at the beginning of the same movie. I quite liked that. So this is a film where Vincent Price plays a role pretty close to his heart. He is an aging horror star. Film opens up with, he's just watched one of his more recent films. He's known as this character called Dr. Death. And this is, I believe it takes place in Hollywood at the beginning of the film. A Hollywood party, and things go awry, and his fiance winds up getting murdered, and it sort of makes him a little crazy. Then we flash forward to the 70s, where Peter Cushing, who plays Vincent Price's oldest friend, former actor, became a writer of these Dr. Death series, wants to convince Vincent Price to come back and do a revival of the character for British TV. And he's very reluctant to do so, but he's like, it's a trip to England and it'll be good to work again. So basically the story of the film is somebody starts murdering people surrounding the production of this TV show in a costume vaguely resembling what Vincent Price wears as Dr. Death. And is it Vincent Price doing it? Is he crazy? Is he an amnesiac? Does he have a split personality? Is it somebody else on the crew? Who is killing these people and what will be left of them? I really had a great time with this. I love Hammer movies. I love AIP. I love Amicus. I love 70s British horror. I love Vincent Price. You have Vincent Price. You have Peter Cushing. You have Jenny Lee Wright, who was one of the regulars on Benny Hill, which was nice to see. And you have Robert Quarry, who was the then sort of star being groomed by AIP to sort of be the next Vincent Price. He had starred in the two Count Yorga films, Count Yorga Vampire in the 1970, I think, and The Return of Count Yorga a couple of years later. I think it was 72. Then he did a movie called The Death Master, which was sort of another vampire movie. It was sort of a what if Charles Manson was a vampire kind of movie. It's a lot of fun, and I believe that was 73. And then the next year was Madhouse in 74. So you have Vincent Price being wonderfully Vincent Price. You have Peter Cushing being his wonderful gentle soul self. And you have Robert Quarry as kind of a villain. He plays the smarmy producer who was not nice to Vincent Price at the beginning of the movie, and in the modern day is not a heck of a lot nicer, but they're trying to make up and make some money together. And then you have a lot of great British character actors and these murders that are semi-graphic. There's a good beheading or two in this film, and they're kind of shocking. And I just had a blast with this. The HD transfer looks great. I believe this is out on Blu-ray. I want to say from Kino Lorber, but I may be wrong. And or actually no, it may be in this Shout Factory box sets of Vincent Price films that are in and out of print and pretty collectible if you can find them. It's just a hell of a lot of fun. Vincent Price would go on to make a few more horror movies in the 70s and 80s, but not a lot like he had been. He was kind of slowing down at this period. And the film really reflects, it's vaguely similar in some ways to the way, well, maybe not. Anyway, Theater of Blood is on my mind. What's similar, Theater of Blood and the Fibes movies are the ones that are kind of interchangeable in some aspects, but I love them all. Here you have Vincent Price as a guy who's really tired of the horror shtick, but he kind of has to keep doing it to work. People love and revere him for what he considers to be, kind of crap. And just seeing him work with his old friend Peter Cushing is kind of wonderful. They had worked together previously, like a year or three earlier in Scream and Scream Again. So anytime you get these icons of these twin titans of terror together, it's always kind of fun to see. They would work together one more time in the early 80s in The House of the Long Shadows, which was also featured John Carradine and Christopher Lee, also produced by Milton Subotsky. That one's I don't remember much about that one other than strangely Desi Arnaz Jr. is the star of it. Anyway, Madhouse from 1974, available on Blu-ray, available streaming, available on cable. It's a really good time. It's a fun late period Vincent Price shocker.